Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So this video is going to be about benzo and antidepressant withdrawal, drug reactions, whatever you want to call it, drug damage, and muscle symptoms. I've had some people ask me about my muscle symptoms. But before I get into the video, I just want to ask you a quick opinion on something. So if you're in the community, you've been in the community for a while, you know that there are withdrawal coaches out there, drug reaction recovery coaches. There's a handful of them out there, and I want to know if you've had firsthand experience with them or you know people who have. And the reason I ask is because I've been pondering it lately and thinking about potentially doing it myself and looking into what it takes to be able to do that sort of thing. So I have a little bit of personal experience with them, but not a lot. So if you're a regular client especially, or if you've done a few consultations or know someone who's currently a client, let me know what the experience has been just so I can make a better decision, informed decision. I know I could book some more consultations myself, but I won't be able to do that with everyone. So I just kind of want an overall review of what your experience has been. So thank you in advance for that. Now, to get on to my muscle symptoms, I have found in my 5 years in this experience, so my 7 years of taking SSRIs, my first withdrawal, which was medically a supervised taper, went into withdrawal for 2.5 years, didn't understand what was going on with me for a very long time. I had a lot of extreme mental symptoms as well as a bunch of other symptoms, reinstated after 2 years, 2.5 years actually, got akathisia, was polydrugged, put on benzos, and then they worked great until they didn't anymore. They went paradoxical. I tried to microtaper and I was getting extreme. My symptoms were getting so extreme. My mom called 911. I ended up in the ER. They cold turkeyed me off the benzos. And so I went into a subsequent withdrawal and I've been off everything for 26 months. So I found my whole journey has been about 5 years, but since being off the second time, it's been 2 years and 2 months. So, and I've noticed that over the years, it seems like people either go one of two ways. Their body or nervous system seems to either shut down or it completely ramps up. So I've talked to people, hundreds of people through my YouTube channel, social media, forums. I used to have a video chat group when I was in acute that literally got me through the worst of the worst when I could barely cope and I had to be connected to people all day long for support. Even then, it just seemed like half of us it was like the body had shut down, and the other half, it was like we were so jacked that you just couldn't even sit or like function that way. You either go up or you go down, it seems. I don't know why. And I found that like some very close friends of mine whose bodies seemed to shut down, it was like they had lots of muscle wasting. Their skin was suddenly like really stretchy. They were extremely fatigued. They had a lot of, it was like a muscle weakness. They weren't able to sit properly or stand properly or walk properly, and their bodies just kind of wasted. And then there's the flip side of that, which is my camp, where everything is so heightened. So extreme sound sensitivity, like having to wear sunglasses indoors, so like light sensitivity, inability to sleep. So even if you feel fatigued, you can't sleep, just vibrations, shaking, just a mind that won't stop instead of a mind that shuts down, which is what kind of those other people experienced, or they just felt like they were asleep with their eyes open. It's very strange how it seems to go one way or the other. So I can't speak first-handed about the muscle weakness and kind of wasting because I didn't experience that myself. I only was very close to some people who have, and I saw that side of the suffering. I saw because a lot of the chats that I had with these people was video chats, so I could see physically what was going on. The inability to get out of bed, the way they would describe like their muscles were pulling them down all the time, and so they couldn't sit up. It was like their body was working against them and like against gravity. Like it was such a pulling all the time, and just like extreme fatigue. Their bodies felt frozen, and their minds were blank, like completely blank, and just they looked like their skin had become too thin and would stretch, almost like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, but not. And so like stretchy skin, and their teeth would turn dark, and their bodies just, the muscles looked like they had disappeared in their legs, and their skin would just hang. So I didn't experience that, but I know a few people very closely and intimately who did. And I've seen that happen specifically from benzos. And then what I experienced for muscle symptoms was, and still do in a wave, is like first of all, there's like the vibrations and the feeling of like explosions in the chest, the butt, and the stomach, kind of like a spasming in my stomach. And then that usually what will happen with that is tightening. Like it will feel like the worst part where I had the tightening was my upper arms. It would feel like there was something wrapped around it, like a boa constrictor, and just tightening and tightening and tightening. And when it was at its worst, it was my arms would bend and I could not straighten them. I'd have to like use the other arm to straighten them, and same with my legs. It was like a extreme, like the most extreme tension you could ever feel in your life. Nothing that happens organically, in my opinion. And then also I had the muscle jerking. So I've talked about that in many videos. I showed that in one of my videos. You can see actually a couple of them where it's actually happening, and that was not anywhere near the worst that it got. It was just what had been captured on film. So a lot of jerking, pulling of the neck. So that I had the jerking. I had it in my left arm especially. So it's hard, like when you're not in it, it's hard to even remember, but it's always in my left side. So the left side and the pulling, and then I'd have like involuntary kicking of my legs. I have that in one of my videos. And that would always go along with inner vibrations and full body burning, like head to toe burning, or feeling like I'm being stung by bees, like all over my body. So I had that. I get that that's more of a nerve sensation, but they always went together for me, the nerve and the muscle stuff. So deep pain, inability to straighten limbs, muscle jerking, extreme pain. And then I had like, and I still get a feeling of my face is too hot. And it'll feel like there's like a tightening in my head, or like, maybe not tightening is not the right word, but like a crushing feeling. So it's like almost like a migraine. I get a lot of that, and I'll rub here or even in my jaw, and it's just like rock hard and pain because it's so tight. I think I might have a little bit of bruxism when I sleep, like jaw clenching, and I'm sure it's from this whole condition as well. So that's what I've experienced the most as far as muscle symptoms go. I know a lot of people experience the involuntary movements, the dystonia, the extreme pain, the burning. Some people, like I said, experience the weakness and just the inability to relax. Like the tension is so severe with this. So that's been my experience, and my secondhand experience from other people that I've talked to very intimately over the years who have the opposite side, where it seems like their muscles all shut down and waste away. So it feels like, or it seems like anything can happen with your muscles in this horrendous state. I honestly don't know why these pills aren't banned. And I've come up against some resistance when I've said that before, because people say, oh, you know, I know someone who was so greatly helped by them. And I was too. For the first 3 years, I felt great. I felt amazing on them, but the body is smart. And I feel like no matter how amazing it is for a while, eventually over time, you adapt. Your body adapts to it, and then you need more, or you need something different, or you have to come off and you can't. And I just feel like no matter which way you look at it, you end up in some type of trap. So I feel like the potential for them to turn on you, and the potential for you to have adverse reactions, even if you feel great for the first while, the risk is just not worth it for me. And just from the hundreds of people that I've talked to. So I just wanted to say that and describe what the muscle part has been for me. And and I still get it in waves. Even right now, I feel quite a bit of pain in my back, but it could be because I went on a very long walk yesterday. But the times when I get really bad and the jerking is really bad, and the feelings of dystonia or the pulling, that's I will get that in a wave now, and it used to be much more often than it is now, but that's how the best to describe the symptoms. I find a lot of these symptoms are so hard to describe, but that's the best way I would describe them. And it just comes along with so much pain, so much tension, and it just feels like you're constantly going 2 steps backwards. But I can tell you that after 26 months, I am, like I've said many times before, 80% better. I really am. So that's been my experience. I hope you all are doing okay. Let me know in the comments, and please let me know what your experience has been with withdrawal coaches, or what you know about them. I would really appreciate it. So thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next one.